Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are starting a new show on our channel, Rezero. Don't really know much about it other than its name. Before this video started, thought it was just Rezero. But now that we pulled it up on Crunchyroll, we see that it is Rezero, starting life in another world. That means, in my opinion, that this might be an isekai.
Yes.
If that's the case, then this would be, I think, my third isekai that I've ever watched. The first SAO, the second being Mushoku Tensei, which we're currently watching on the channel, and this would be the third if this is an isekai.
I mean, if it's not, then that title is like super misleading. And I'd be interested to see how it misleads me.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it is an isekai.
Do you know anything going in?
I think I know what a few of the characters look like, but that really doesn't mean anything.
I don't know what the characters look like, don't know what the story's about other than potentially being an isekai, but that's like my favorite way to go into a new show. I find that I enjoy the shows most when I know absolutely nothing about them. I don't know what the characters look like, and that's the case here, so I'm excited for it. But yeah, if this is your first time ever watching a video with us, hi. I'm Ben, and that's Anna, like we said. And we like to watch shows like this in anime and then talk about them a lot after we watch them. And if you want to watch along with us, we have full length available for free in the description for episode 1. Thanks, Blind Wave. And if you want to continue watching with us, you can subscribe to our Patreon, where we also offer 2-week early access. But without further ado, you ready, Anna?
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, I love starting new shows. Subaru. Does he want a girlfriend? Or a friend?
This is so unsettling. And having the market music at the same time.
I like that he has like this like knowledge going into it, probably because he's read about similar things in manga. So he didn't die, he just got like dragged in,
I guess.
to this world?
I mean, I kind of like it because I would have expected him to die.
I thought he was gonna get hit by a car.
I know, me too.
Whoa. I like her design.
A thief?
She's so quick. He's quick.
Yep.
Not even freaked out.
With a medieval type culture. He's so knowledgeable. He thinks he has superpowers. You know, he had the magic to will that into existence.
Yeah.
He made that happen.
We don't even know if magic exists in this world. Interesting.
My starting gear is too wimpy.
I love that he was able to take stuff with him. Uh-oh. Live strong. Oh, cool. Natsuki's Barts.
You just gotta wait for your time to shine. Oh no.
Not a good feeling. Okay.
Is this in his imagination?
Is this the cute girl who summoned me into this world?
Awesome.
Magic does exist.
Okay. I believe it. Oh, they didn't leave their buddy.
Do all cats talk in this world? Floats. Puck?
Puck? Oh, such a cute name.
It is a cute name. Insignia. All cleaned up.
It's Puck. Puck is huge now. Oh my god, I don't know if I like it.
He's so big. Healing your wounds. She's so transactional. Very informative. That's helpful.
お礼なんていらない。手伝いたいんだ。お礼をされるようなことしてない。とはもらってるんだから。なら俺も俺のために君を。そうだな。うん。一日一銭だ。
Aw.
じゃないし素直に受け入れてもいいと思うよ。傍観相手の玉よけは多い。その役割かよ。
Shield.
That makes me worried. Because of what we see at the beginning of this episode, I'm like, oh, is that foreshadowing? Just another kid with a red scarf.
I like the music. Yes. Aww. Touch his spirit so casually. Huh.
They don't have video games in this world.
She's so observant.
Satella.
Why is Puck shocked?
I mean, she thought about it for a second before saying it.
Yeah.
Magic. He's doing the magic trick.
Sorcerer.
Oh.
He's so good with kids. True.
Ooh. That's what he was thinking about her.
Interesting. Half elf.
Probably a lot older than him.
Yes. She get looked down on for that.
Oh, maybe. There was like bars only for demi-humans?
Yeah.
Happiness?
Back to where we started.
Is that his daughter? Stop.
Give him all the apples for free.
The appas?
The appas.
Oh, so cute.
Karma.
So yeah, getting all your good deeds done early on, you know, you have a lot of good karma coming your way.
This seems like a more impoverished side of town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Felt girl.
Yeah, you're being watched.
Interesting. 9 to 5.
So they're gonna be alone. Sleepy.
Aww.
What crystal is he being summoned from?
Whoa. The lesser spirits. Interesting. Do you think those are all lesser spirits?
I guess so. There's a lot of them.
Was that it? That was it? Okay, that was the first episode of Rezero. I did not expect it to end there. No ending credits. I didn't expect it at all. It caught me off guard.
My expectations were to see what the beginning of the episode was showing in the end.
Yeah.
That was my expectation.
Interesting. What do you take away from what we were seeing in the beginning of the episode? What do you think was happening?
Bad stuff, death, that this is dangerous to go after this Felt girl, the girl Felt.
Yeah.
To get what was stolen back. I feel like once they entered this more impoverished area, it definitely felt like eyes were on them. It was going to be harder to ask questions. We already know, like, just in an alleyway in a better part of town, it's still dangerous.
Yeah.
So I was definitely feeling like bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. What I feel like it might be like it's like a flash forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what I think you're suggesting, like it's something that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
My first like instinct was like, oh, is this somebody grabbing him from another world and like
And
bringing
pulling
him back? Yeah.
It did kind of spread out, kind of like a hand.
A hand. But I do think that like by the end of the episode, now I'm thinking that at some point during the interaction that's happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
it might get dark, it might get dangerous, and both of these characters, Subaru, Natsuki Subaru,
Mm-hmm.
and Satella, are probably going to get into a situation that's dangerous, and both of them are going to be hurt, and Subaru could potentially awaken some power, maybe, to save her.
I mean, I did think during the episode that there was foreshadowing of this possibility. In multiple scenes, Puck mentions something about Subaru that could be beneficial to them to have around. Like, he seems like he's pretty fit. Like, that was one thing Puck said when they were looking over the city. But when they were in the streets, Puck uses the word shield.
Yeah.
So we could be having kind of a bodyguard element. Like, maybe he will be able to awaken some magic or something in order to save her. But then why would her magic not be working in that time? She's
Maybe
like,
it
oh,
wasn't
don't
strong
worry,
enough.
I have magic.
It could be something we don't know yet. Maybe she has the limit of mana that she can expend.
That's true. I mean, we literally just get told that exists for the spirits to be able to be out and about.
Maybe trying to communicate with all of these lesser spirits would
Might
drain
use
her
up
of
a
that.
lot, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. If all of them were lesser spirits, that whole thing.
Because you're gathering them all together to get intel. It's probably harder to talk to them.
That whole thing's extremely interesting to me. I love that they added in the idea of these lesser spirits, once they grow to a certain point, become what Puck is.
Yes.
Right? I think that's so cool. Why do you think Satella, I guess, and Puck are interacting and have like a bond or a friendship? Do you think that it's a common thing to be friends or have like a relationship with spirits in this world? Or it's like typically only known for magic users, you know?
So when we were in the alleyway with the ruffians, we get at first that they are like, oh, she's a magic user. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, spirits too. Yeah. So it's like maybe an even more advanced form of magic, or maybe it's because she's half elf that she's maybe it is something to be with being an elf. But
it's not like a Pokemon type thing, right? It's like no, I don't know. Maybe it kind of is.
Back in a Pokeball.
But because it's not, that wasn't a good example, but it doesn't feel like a summon necessarily, right? Like it feels like Puck is its own creature and it has their own will and their own personality and being, and they can only project themselves in that way for a certain amount of time during the day and then, go home.
Yeah, and they want to help.
Where do you think, well, at least Puck does.
Yeah. I think maybe you have a contract for some, but what would Puck be gaining out of it? Is it just, oh, I want to be with Satella because I like Satella, so I'm going to help Satella? Because that could fit with what Subaru is saying here, is he just wants to be following her and helping her. That's why he's offering his assistance. It's
a scary thing though. Puck could be stolen away potentially from Satella if he is within just a crystal, And it seemed like Puck was saying that if things get bad, to use Odo or something to get him out and summon him again. And I'm like, okay, does he need to have Satella's help to be summoned,
Yeah, it seems like maybe she needs to have a certain amount of mana possibly to summon him, but he also needs to be ready to be summoned.
Yeah.
And him have enough mana himself. I know it was kind of silly. I don't really think what was stolen was another crystal that has a spirit in it, but I do think that's interesting. That was just my first thought. It was like, oh, so this little thing with a crystal in it was stolen by the girl, and now we're learning that Puck basically lives inside this little crystal.
Yeah.
So it did make me wonder if that crystal had more of a magical significance and not just was a special object.
Yeah. I want to see what was the term for it.
Yeah, she used a term. And I think Subaru was like, oh, to show your affiliation or something like that. Insignia.
Yeah.
So saying who she is and an affiliation with a guild.
Okay, let's go with that. Because I think that would be an interesting point to tie it back to the name idea and how Puck reacted to Satella saying her name. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's like a piece of her identity that she's holds dear and important to her. Maybe she's still trying to figure out, right? We know that she's a half elf, and there is something that she she almost looked self-conscious upon telling that to Subaru, right? Mm-hmm. Or Subaru. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, then I wonder, does Satella truly even is she trying to get back to a home? Is this dear to
she's
her?
Broke. Why is she broke? Has magic powers. She seems very capable.
Yeah.
How is she not making money? Couldn't she offer her services to get paid?
Maybe.
And so why is she broke? Why was
Where does she live?
Where does she live? This thing was stolen from her. We are in Luganica,
I think. Yeah. Lugunica, perhaps? I don't know. But
it's the easternmost it's the easternmost continent.
Yes. And it's apparent that she knows where she is. She has knowledge of the world and that she helps people, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know why she's here or what her mission or journey is, I guess, or what she's doing.
I'm going to write down the word choice that Puck used to describe her, and it was insincere.
Yeah.
And then Subaru was kind of like, I don't know if that's the right word. Like, he was like, there's something more there, is what he was feeling.
Yeah.
And then when he chased after her, he's like, I don't want her to waste her whole life, you know?
Yeah. He was like looking at her walking down the alley leaving while Puck is in this gigantic form.
I know that I don't think I like at the moment. I'm like, oh.
It's not about if I like it or not. It's about if it reminds me of Cats, the live action, and how much it reminds me of, you know? And it's because Puck still looks great, and Puck still looks like Puck, who is amazing.
Puck has a cute face.
Puck is just great.
Yes. I like the one earring.
That greatness has expanded into something that resembles a live action Cats, and I'm trying to come to terms with that and get used to it. But while that's happening, he says insincere. I think this goes beyond that.
Beyond that.
She was in such a hurry to find what was stolen from her, yet she stopped to help me, and she even came up with that lame excuse for a favor so I wouldn't feel bad, even though I'm a total stranger.
That the truth was enough favor to her.
Anyone who lives like that is going to end up wasting their whole life. It's interesting that both of them had, like, a point in this episode that they said that about the other. Mm-hmm. The idea of the other wasting their lives. And my first intuition is like, okay, is that because that's the way that they live? Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, no, I wouldn't, like, I know what that's like. I don't want them to waste their life kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm like, Puck probably knows Satella better than Natsuki does right now, right? Yeah. So he would probably have a better understanding and confidence in calling her insincere than, you know, Subaru would from the beginning.
I really want to unpack this wasting their whole life and kind of just maybe go on a little bit of a tangent to you right now about what I find interesting about this phrase. So we use it at first to describe Satella for the fact that Satella seems to go out of her way, even if it does not benefit her, to help others.
Yeah.
And all the while trying to say things that make it seem to the other person that she's helping as if it is beneficial to her for some reason.
Correct.
And that they don't owe her anything. And Subaru, we know from things he said about himself before entering this world, that he basically just holes up in his house as a shut-in, you know, playing games. And so we know that he would probably describe himself in a self-aware way as wasting his whole life.
Yeah.
But he's using it to describe her in that first scene. And then we get her saying it to him as he's talking about doing the same thing that she does.
Or at least he perceived what she was doing.
Yeah. Yes. And so it is interesting to me that technically you could say that he was wasting his whole life. And then he says that she is, and then he starts doing what he perceives she's doing. Yeah. Which I just find that kind of chain of events interesting.
Is there the correlation at all of like, putting yourself, like going out of your own way to do good deeds for others is somehow synonymous with wasting your life?
I think it's interesting because then she brings up that there's that karma of it. Like, look, we did that good thing and now we got helped here.
So
like,
it isn't wasting your life. It isn't wasting
because we got further, we got closer to, we found someone to tell us where she lives, where Felt lives. And so, yeah, is it really wasting your time and your life to help others when you could then gain things from them? But then it comes into the element of, are you helping others to get something from them?
Maybe it's not the fact that you're helping others, but the fact that you're kind of bullshitting a reason to justify your excuse to help other people, right? Because in both instances, in the first Subaru's like recounting of what Satella was doing was saying she even made up that lie, right? And what's happening in this instance on the bridge is Subaru being like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing the good deed for tomorrow. I'm trying to do a whole week's worth of good deeds.
They're like having to justify their selflessness so that it seems to everyone else like they're trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I'm being selfish, not selfless right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is beneficial to me.
Yeah, it's like trying to convince somebody else that what you're doing isn't for them.
And so maybe is it just walking through life trying to make everyone else feel good?
Maybe.
Like, oh no, you don't owe me anything because you told me the truth and that was beneficial to me. Thank you. You don't owe me anything now for me helping you.
Yeah. At the beginning of the episode, and then it tied back later when he was looking at that like 10 piece, with the grounded edge.
Ridged edge or something.
I was like, oh, is he a numismatist? Is he collecting coins? Does he like have a vast knowledge about coins? And no, it's better than that. He's an amateur magician, and that's great. That's all I needed to love this character.
All you needed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly probably, wouldn't that be funny if he actually does not awaken any real magic, but it's kind of like a Reigen Arataka, you know, where it's like people would believe or perceive that maybe he has this advanced magic that they can't even comprehend.
See, I'm going to stop you there because I personally don't like to set impossible expectations for myself. And when you try to compare somebody to Reigen Arataka, you've already fucked up. You know?
I see the error of my ways at the moment.
I love the character design. Like, I think like a bit of it is very, I've seen, we played like probably 6 hours of Tower of Fantasy when that came out. And it's like, fantasy characters, right? Like, no. I like how specifically the faces and eyes are drawn in this show. And also the point of view of like, we got one shot of that little girl, like close up of her face.
I love the little girl's design and her eyes, the tears.
The perspective is like really interesting with how they're drawing faces, and I really appreciate that. It's cool.
There's something really kind of pretty about everything at the moment that I'm seeing. Both in character design, color, everything's very saturated, but still feels very whimsical. And it's honestly very pleasing at the moment.
Yeah.
It's digestible, I feel like, because they made it so pleasing.
Uh-huh. It's interesting that there does seem to be some, like, tendency to separate depending on where you're from in this world, right?
Right. And I think that we have evidence of that because of how she reiterates that she's a half elf.
Yeah,
like that should be an
too.
issue. Like maybe people don't want to associate with her because of the fact that she's not an elf or not. So she doesn't have like a place to belong. Maybe she is a drifter.
I wonder if certain areas of this world are more like, you know, strict with that kind of thing than others.
I mean, it seems like establishments are allowed to be and are strict.
Yeah, you're right.
So there might even be places that are more open and inclusive.
Yeah.
And then places that are, you know, more kind of like, oh, this is for demi-humans only.
I thought for sure we were going to get like a scene of either Puck or Satella eating some of this other world's like food or snacks or treats that Subaru was able to bring with him.
There has to be something to the fact, like we even got a shot of seeing like the noodles and all that, you know, from the convenience store that he was able to bring into this world with him. I, for a second, was like, oh, is she gonna look over at that and be like, something is up with this guy? Like, not only is he in weird clothes, but
she did point out the weird clothes. I really appreciated that. She's really observant. I like her a lot.
I hope they do try the food.
How do you think the insignia was stolen? My guess is like, okay, Satella was probably asleep, Puck wasn't around, and this girl like pickpocketed it.
It seems like Satella might be vulnerable at night because of the fact that Puck can't be summoned.
Yeah.
So if she's traveling alone, and we are kind of witnessing a world that if you go down the wrong street, there are people that are probably going to beat you up and steal your money.
Don't go into alleyways alone.
Don't go into alleyways alone, and don't assume that who's walking toward you in the alleyway is a cute girl that wants to be with you.
Yeah. She's able to heal She's able to use ice balls a bit.
Ice balls, yeah.
And then what was really interesting to me is, like, I love the idea of, like, how things work in different worlds. The ice didn't shatter and stay there. It disappeared, right? It's like she manifested it, used it, and then it, like, disappeared again, which is really interesting. You usually don't see that kind of thing.
I like that. How do you feel about the fact that he can't read the language, but they can understand him when he talks to them?
I mean...
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
At that point, if you chose to go in, like, the more, oh, they can't understand me, what are you gonna do? Like, we're gonna spend, like, 6 seasons trying to be able to talk to other people.
There has to be some immediate fix for that, because there's he doesn't need to know how to read. Yeah. But he definitely needs to be able to communicate.
Maybe that's
with
a superpower. Maybe, like, that's his, like, power in this world.
Communication.
Able to communicate with everybody, regardless of, that would be pretty interesting.
Or he's, like, literally doesn't have any superpowers at all. I'm sorry, but probably the highlight of this episode, I don't know, the end with all the lesser spirits was, like, beautiful.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, from, like, a humor standpoint, the highlight of this episode to me is when he's like, oh, now's my time to use my magic for the first time in this world.
Well, I was like, this person's going to die. Like,
is now the time to, like, test to see if you have magic in this world?
Like, you've been, like, wandering around. You have a coin in your pocket. You could try to make it levitate or something. No.
But,
you gotta wait until somebody's in distress so it looks cool.
Well, but I understand, because sometimes you can't summon magic unless you're in, like, dire straits, you know? So maybe he was using all of his, like, manga knowledge to realize that, oh, most of the time when people use magic for the first time, it is to lift a car off of a baby. You
know what? I like that, because maybe he was thinking about it too much and how that's, like, a trope when he tried the first time. And as we see in the beginning, he might be in a life or death situation that he's gonna have to be forced to push that magic out of him.
It could be interesting if it's more to do with selflessness. Or self-protection, self-preservation.
I mean, that would kind of continue with the themes.
With the theme of, like, and some of the words we got, like shield. Like, maybe he can only protect himself.
Maybe.
And not others? I don't know. I don't know how the magic works. What if he's not even summoning it right? What if what if he's not advanced enough and he needs to use words?
Can everybody use magic in this world? Can only elves use magic, you know?
Oh, yeah, like any type, like humans, elves.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts in this episode was a line that we got from Satella, and she was like, "Live strong," and then just, like, ran away.
I have, like, one last thing.
Okay.
That I wanted to say and bring up, because I think that it is probably one of the most important elements.
Yeah.
And that is, how do you feel about the fact that he just blinked into this world and he didn't die?
I am surprised, I'll say, because, like, granted, I know that I do not have a very vast knowledge of isekais. This is, I think, my third. What I assumed it to be, especially with what the scene was looking like, was he was going to get hit by a car, and he was going to wake up here. Mm-hmm. The fact that he just blinked and he was here is honestly, like, way more interesting to me, and I'm glad that they subverted me a little bit.
I found it really refreshing.
Yeah. You've probably seen more isekais than I have.
Possibly. It's not really the genre that it's normally just romance. That's like strictly like shoujo romance that I've seen probably most everything. But there was something really refreshing with going against my expectations here, but there was something really I mean, I already said that a lot of things were beautiful.
Yeah.
But there was something really beautiful, now that I think about it, of just kind of blinking slowly and things start to come to light as you open your eyes. And it almost morphs into this other world and you're transported through this. There's something dream-like. I mean, I already used the word whimsical as well to describe how the world is.
Yeah, I really liked it. But just like in Mushoku Tensei, I have to, like, wonder why. Like, I don't know if these kind of questions ever get answered in these shows.
Like, why do you get to go somewhere
Was there
else?
somebody who orchestrated it, right?
Did
somebody pull you into this world?
Me? Yeah.
I always feel like I don't know if those kind of things get answered, but I'd be very curious to know if, like, somebody, pulled him in here for a reason.
Is it like a fate element where you are meant to meet this person in a different dimension, a parallel world.
You know what's interesting? Like, I don't know. There was something that made me feel like in that opening scene that he was like reacting to the flashes we were getting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it was almost like it was blending with his world, and like he was trying to understand it.
He was like, wow, I've been staring at my video games too long. That's probably why my eyes are doing this.
Yeah. I'm going to... And he's like, what am I seeing?
And he's looking over as if he's looking at what he's seeing.
I'm gonna save you. I don't know. It's weird because, like, it feels like how it first played out felt like whoever, which I believe to be Subaru, was in a very desperate situation, was saying, I'm going to save you, and their power that was being activated from that desperation manifested in the reason of Subaru being teleported into this world in the first place.
Yeah, like either fate, time travel, parallel worlds.
Yeah. But what would that power give him? It wouldn't do anything, right? Like, him putting himself in the world at an earlier time, if that would be the power, wouldn't help him out in the situation of life or death that we are being flashed with, you know?
Right.
So it's interesting. I don't know.
I'm confused.
I am too. But one of my last things that I have is that we got a line from Puck saying that you were able to touch a spirit so casually, right?
So is it casually as in that's a great line to bring up, because what does casually mean here? Does casually mean like it's not normal for people to be able to touch, or it's not normal to touch?
Yeah.
Like maybe people wouldn't want to touch them.
Maybe there's like a connotation around them. Maybe they're dangerous, you know? Maybe they drain something from you. Like,
maybe there's something kind of self-conscious that has to do with the fact that as a half-elf, Satella is self-conscious. Maybe there's also something undesirable about spirits or touching them, that maybe only some people do that.
I don't know.
And some people are against it.
I feel like I could rewatch the opening scene and try to understand what's happening like a billion times. Like, it almost reminds me of Dark Shadow from My Hero Academia, because it's like it was like a purple hand reaching out, you know?
This is probably, I know this is a big statement to say, this is probably one of my favorite, like the first 2 minutes of this episode is probably one of my favorite series openers.
Really?
That I've seen in a while.
Interesting.
There is something just so kind of compelling, but also refreshing about it. And I feel like I haven't watched a lot of isekais, but I do know that a lot of people say there's very saturated.
Yeah.
But there are a lot. I mean, if you scroll through Crunchyroll, there's like a bunch, and people make jokes about it. Like, I woke up in a new world and now I have 6 fingers and I know how to do magic.
Is that a real
there's
thing?
a cute girl over there.
That's
That's
a
the
long
whole title. That's the long title.
Jeez.
That was a really long-winded trying to come up with a funny title, and it didn't work. So there was something about these first 2 minutes that I have definitely feel like is up there. Like, it's definitely captured me. I'm really interested.
I think the thing that captured me in the first 2 minutes was literally on the 2-minute mark, and that was just like it's a close up
it's like
of
a fisheye
Subaru.
thought, like a fisheye.
Yeah, it's like a fisheye lens. Like, I love stylistic choices that are just like you know, changing stuff up in anime, especially. It's cool.
Yes.
Looks like all the background characters are 3D CG.
That's
right?
what I was thinking when we first saw it.
What do you think? Do you think that the thief or whoever the girl is running a pickpocket, right? Felt. Yeah, that's right. Do you think that they are going to be part of our like roster cast?
Ooh, go back to the bridge.
To the bridge?
You just were on a shot where she was jumping and you could see this bridge. And there is a symbol on the bridge that looks an awful lot like the shape of the thing that Felt stole from Satella.
Let's try to find it.
Okay.
It's a big sloth.
The 3D does throw me off like a little bit. I don't know how much I love it, but it's not too bad that it like
You gotta do that.
takes me out of it.
Been summoned into a parallel.
There's a
world.
castle.
There is a castle. Okay, we get title.
Title and you see that? That is on the bridges.
Oh, interesting.
And I think it was the same shape as the thing that Felt stole. Like, pay attention to what... I could be totally wrong. I need to see it again. But it is... See it?
You're right. What if Okay, question. She has no money, right?
No money.
What if she is nobility and
Remember the name conversation? The name conversation?
The name conversation.
Puck's reaction?
And the trust potentially prompted by Subaru's lack of knowledge in this world. So that could be...
It could have been her real name because she was like, oh, you don't even know where you are.
Yeah.
So how would he even know if her name was significant?
Maybe she is like a royal family's like, daughter, or like maybe in some stories they have it like you have a secret child and you have a secret child because they were born out of like wedlock. Half elf. Maybe it's like, oh, this is a child from the royal family, and this is my what do they call it?
Half sister?
No, the insignia of that royal family, and I cherish it because like I am, in like a weird place in them.
Yeah, like maybe it's almost like it would be an embarrassment if she doesn't get this back, because maybe she's only supposed to have it as like a secret kind of special object to her, but no one else is supposed to know that she is nobility.
Yeah, I like that. Especially if they're on all the bridges, too.
I'm so glad that I don't know if everything in the symbol is exact because I'm not looking at them next to each other, but the shape is the same and it looks somewhat similar. Yeah. If I had them side by side, I could say definitively that it is the same.
But it definitely lends itself to an interesting thought, right? She has her sword, the thief,
like on the waistband,
like Eris, and
yeah,
Mushoku Tensei. I love it. Amazing. All right, that's all I have.
That is all I have.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I can't wait to watch episode 2. See you next time.